Today's podcast is brought to you by a company who we have been using for years and takes up significant shelf space inside of our own kitchen. Biosteel Sports Nutrition.
It was a product created out of necessity 8 years ago and is trusted by athletes like Connor McDavid, Tyler Seguin, Brooke Henderson, Rosie MacLennan, and Andrew Wiggins.
They're really a leader in sports drinks for everyone from professional athletes to everyday champions.
Understand something, guys. Nothing worth ever having in this world comes easy.
Do what these champions doing if you're going to be a champion.
You control your outcome.
Who am I?
I'm a champion.
What up, champions, and welcome back to a brand new Biosteel Breakdown. As always, I'm your host, Adrian, with my co-host,
Sylvie.
We're breaking down your questions. We're giving you all you need to know about strength training, nutrition, mindset, health, wellness, those sort of things. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we get this question a lot.
Yes.
And I mean, I know we say that about all the questions, but hence why we pick them. But it is a really important topic because, there's only so many of us coaches and trainers out there that we need to know who to pick.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about today. How do you go about choosing the right person to help you along your, fitness journey, nutrition journey, any coach or service that you're looking for, essentially. Right?
Right. You guys have been watching and you've been listening, and now you're ready. You're ready to get in the gym. You're ready to find a coach. You're ready to take your training to the next level, your nutrition to the next level. So that's what we want to talk about. So I think there's 4 things to look for. A bunch of things, but 4 major things to look for when you're trying to pick your next coach. So the first one is credentials. And I am the biggest fan in the world of self-directed learning. I firmly believe that hands-on and self-exploration is vital if you're going to be the best at anything. And you are a testament to that. If you think about your nutrition, right?
Absolutely.
You went to school and then you went to nutrition school, but a lot of what you do is from your own research after, from talking with other professionals in the field. And I know it's the same in my life. That being said, I think it is important that the person that you're talking to has some sort of prior education. So whether it's a degree, whether it's a certification from a reputable institution, whether it's a course, whether it's an internship, whatever it is, I just think that shows that they value their career and their education and they're willing to invest time in it. So if for no other reason than to show that they put value on what they're doing.
Yeah. And I think, one of the big things that we, would look for right away, especially, if it's like even with interns and that type of thing, is their continuing education. Like it's one thing to get, one accreditation and then being like, okay, I'm good, I got this. And there's so much, growth in all fields that it's important to continue on that path. So continuing along that certification path, I think it's really important too.
I would agree 100%. That being said, the second thing I think you need to look for is experience, because nothing beats experience. And it's so true in sport and in life and in school and business and whatever it is that you're doing. There's a comfort level and an understanding that comes with having done something for a longer period of time. Like you really start to develop an understanding of the topic and the ins and the outs and specifically experiencing whatever it is that you want to get out of it. So if you're a high performer and you are, a figure skater, for example, well, then you should probably work with a coach that knows figure skating, or a strength coach that knows figure skating, or a nutritionist that knows athletic performance. If you're a weight loss client, then maybe you need to find a different coach. So I think it's important that when you're picking someone, you find a person who has experience in that sector. We deal with high performers on the whole. We're very comfortable with it. At least I am personally. That's what I know well. I feel most comfortable. If you were coming in off of, specific injury perhaps, then I might refer out if it was something really specific that I didn't know a lot about. If you're a baseball player and you had a really bad shoulder, then maybe there's someone else that could help. If you're a hockey player and you have a hip issue, then maybe we're the people, right? That's just an example. I think we're competent in all areas, but it's important to find someone who has experience in whatever it is you're doing. If it's weight loss, then find someone who's helped other people in that situation and knows how to get results from there.
Mm-hmm.
So
such a good point.
So that's number 2.
Okay. What's number 3?
Well, number 3 is personality. You have to enjoy the person that you're with. That goes without saying. If the person could have the best information in the world, and if you don't like them, you're not going to listen. If you don't enjoy, it could be the best workout in the world, but if you don't enjoy the hour that you're spending with that person 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever times a week, then you're not going to go. Because we don't go to things that we don't like. So it goes without saying, I think, but it's still worth saying that you need to enjoy the person and you need to have a personal connection. So go with your gut feeling, which you just taught me, that our gut has thousands of nerve endings. What's the system called?
Our enteric nervous system.
Right. So your gut feeling is a real thing.
Gut feeling is a real thing. There's a physiological response and a lot of science behind why, we say go with your gut, which I love because it's all about the gut.
It's all about the gut. And then the last thing that I would look for is an assessment. So when you go in to meet that coach in whatever it is, if they don't spend time assessing you, then I think I don't think it's worthwhile investing your time and your resources in that particular individual, because otherwise you're throwing stuff at the wall and you're hoping that it sticks. And you could just as easily download a nutrition program and a workout off the internet and go into the gym and do that yourself. Right? An assessment is so important because it shows you where deficiencies are, it shows you where you're strong, and then it provides an opportunity to build on those deficiencies and create a more robust person. And that's what you're in there for, obviously. So if your coach, that you're trying out doesn't perform an assessment in your first session or your trial session, then I think it's worthwhile to look elsewhere and find someone who's like really invested in helping you build from the ground up, rather than just starting randomly at a spot and just hoping it works.
What specifically, like just as a overview, would you be looking for in that assessment? So if someone's like, okay, an assessment, but
right.
What does that actually mean? Okay, they asked me what my goals are. Is that enough?
No, but that's a good start. Obviously, You want to know what they should talk to you about your goals. An injury history is a good one. If you've gotten, if you're 20 years old and you don't have an injury from your past, that's very rare. So I think an injury history is very important. They should know what has happened and what limitations you might have, and then some sort of movement screening. How well do you move? And if it's nutrition, you could speak to this more than I could, but you're kind of doing the same thing, right? You're looking at a history of issues. Like, did you have a gut issue historically? Like, were there bowel movement issues? Like, were there any autoimmune conditions, like that sort of thing? And then, you just want to see how that person moves and how they interact. So those are the things that I would be looking for. And it doesn't have to be any more in depth than that. There doesn't need to be performance testing. As long as we're looking at injury history and we're looking at movement patterns, that should set you up for a solid foundation to start from. So those are the 4 things to recap: credentials, experience, personality, assessment.
Awesome.
That's it. You got anything?
Okay. No, I think
CEPA. That's a horrible acronym. CEPA. CEPA. That's not going to catch on.
Awesome. I think that breaks everything down in terms of what people need to know when they go to hire somebody.
That's it. Short, sweet.
You have to be a good person,
Yeah, just be a good, pick someone who's a good person. That's all.
Easier said.
As always, head over to biosteel.com. Use the code word
Champ Lifestyle, capital C, capital L.
Capital C, capital L. And receive 15% off all the products that they have to offer. I think that's it, guys.
That's it.
Check back next week. Brand new breakdown.